Welcome back, Josh. Today, it's my turn to talk. You are usually the tool guru, but this time I know something that you don't. Jigsaw blades.
I know, I have a lot of Lenox.
Lenox blades. About 3 weeks ago, I went to I went on a plant tour to visit the Lenox plant where they make blades, and Lenox makes really high-end jigsaw blades, recip saw blades, bandsaw blades. They're kind of like the Cadillac of blades. And what they were showing off is their new jigsaw blades. They have wood and metal, and they kind of just revamped the whole line. And they were good to begin with.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Lenox.
No, they make great blades. So what they did with the wood one, they kind of just reconfigured the way the teeth were, and they have this thing called a power blast, so they made the tang stronger. And what it is they literally, it's just like a, kind of like when you blast something like a sandblasting thing,
Yep.
except they take little ceramic beads and they blast the tang. And what it does is it actually kind of compresses a little bit, and you have to see it. It's really small dimples, but it makes it like twice as strong or something.
Wow.
It's way more stronger, so it's not much less likely to break. And then they reconfigured the teeth on these wood blades, and they showed us.
I was going to say, those look like a mini shark teeth.
Oh, those things are
they
crazy.
Look sharp.
So the things, you can barely touch. So oddly enough, what I learned, a little fun fact is, this is called a fleam cut or fleam grind, and I don't know if they did that as a joke, but you can barely touch these things without cutting or bleeding yourself. And if you look it up, fleam stands, you remember back in the day when you were young and they still did bloodletting?
That was not long ago.
That tool that they used for bloodletting was called a fleam. So this thing, I don't know if it's a joke, like I said, you pick it up and you cut, you know, there's a bloodletting situation. But we demonstrated on, they stacked 3 or 4 pieces of laminate, really tough, hard laminate flooring, and you cut through that, it'll ruin a blade just like that. Mm-hmm. And they cut with this one, and they cut with the Bosch, and I'll say Bosch because Bosch makes great blades. I've got tons of them. And the Bosch burned like all blades would. It burned and it smoked, and this one burned a little bit, but it was faster. It was less smoke. It was a really clean cut.
Out. It looks like with the teeth design that are on there, how they're back and forth. It's really cool.
And that's the fleam. That's the fleam deal. But yeah, it was, and it was a legit deal. They let us try it. So that was a metal blade, or that was a wood blade.
But I noticed, Mark, on they got a metal blade. And if you look in here,
yeah,
it's actually, I'm putting a straight edge on it. It's actually got a curve to it. You can lightly see that.
That's an arc. It's called the power arc, and yes, that's exactly right. So they reconfigured the teeth a little bit, and they added the power arc, and what that does is it changes kind of the angle of attack. You know how you're sawing something, and you don't saw the same way through the whole.
Angle of attack.
So when you're sawing through a board, not too many people do that anymore with the handsaw, but back in my day, occasionally we used a saw. So when you're using a saw, you don't just go the same way. You kind of go this way, and you go this way, and it just cuts better.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same concept of this. It's always kind of attacking the wood or the metal in this case, from a different angle. And when I said metal, that reminds me, they didn't do the power arc on the wood blade because these are really fine. These are for fine woodworking projects, and this is kind of an aggressive cut, so you don't want a wood blade cutting that aggressively because it'll tear out. It doesn't do that to metal, but on wood it would tear it up.
So
in fact, this power arc technology came from their recip saw blades.
Oh.
So the recip saw blades have had it for a while, and when you're cutting with the recip, that's not, you're just ripping through stuff, so aggressive is fine on the recip.
So also I noticed, Mark, that this isn't painted. It's steel, and then that one's painted.
That is because, the woodworkers, the fine woodworkers and guys doing cabinetry or what have you, countertops.
That's me.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When you're cutting through, you don't want that paint rubbing off on the side of your, on the side of, and they do make some the less expensive wood blades, I believe, have paint. But cool. So yeah, we toured the plant, and this metal one, by the way, we got to see a demo, and again, it was against a Bosch, and they cut through, I think, 3/16 plate steel, maybe about 12 inches, and I think this cut through, it was almost twice as fast, and they say it lasts up to twice as long. And it was legit. I mean, we all tried it, and they had a timer, and we all got to inspect the other blade that was being tested, and it was a fair test. It was way faster. It was very impressive. Cool. And that whole plant tour was awesome. They treated us well. We got to see most things. We couldn't take pictures of it because they got some pretty high-end robotic stuff in there that was really awesome. So These are coming out soon, 2018, probably winter 2018. The cost, I don't know, they'll probably cost more than other blades. Lenox are usually more expensive, but you get what you pay
Yeah,
for.
but they last longer.
They last
so
a lot longer, and
yeah.
they work great. I mean, Lenox makes a great product. Very impressive.
Cool.
All right, we'll see you next time.